Hello, good morning, Cal from CWD. Glad to be back. Church Lawton. It's above 5 degrees, so I can get all this done today. This is what it's looking like. Obviously, needs some neating up. A few bits of the underlying things. Bottom drain's not absolutely full of water. So all I need to do is go around, make sure everything's dry. The bottom drain flange there looks pretty dry, so that's good. I screwed in that timber there in the corner. I'll jump in and show you. Just this gap was a bit much. You can see the way the timber's cut, they're not always cut exactly flat. So we just did that to help it look a bit better. Just jumping inside. So you can see all these little beads here that we put on the inside there. And yeah, so this timber's on there holding that in. As you can see here, there is a bit of a gap still, but you can't really get rid of it. So I'm just gonna see if that sealant's held now. So it's not popping off with that one, so that's a good sign. Just stick the camera down there. Thank you, Carol.
It's a bit warmer this week than
a lot warmer, yeah. I might have to take the jumper off in a minute. Right then. So there was a bit of a gap here. It's opened up a little bit. It's not as bad as what it was. It's the only problem with working with timbers. Well, especially sleepers, rough zone, you can't always get everything absolutely perfect. So yeah, even with the thickness of them, even the same batch of sleepers cut by the same saw, there can be like 4mm difference, 3mm, even up to 10mm difference. So we have to say people ordering a kit where it's 100cm tall, it might only be, you know, it can be 10% difference in the overall height. It's 10 sleepers that we do. So yeah, hopefully we can find a reliable supplier who can just send all the sleepers out the exact same size, but we've tried all sorts, all the big names, and we can't seem to get anyone 100% consistent. So we've got everything, absolutely everything's plumbed in. All we've got to do is whack the liner in. Got a couple more screws to stick in here, and the dechlorinator unit, my fault, forgot to tell the customer to take this inside. You can see the bottom bit there's popped off, so I'm going to have to replace that, because I stupidly filled it up, rinsed it through so he could just turn it on when he was ready. So it had a bit of water in it and the thing exploded. So yeah, I'm going to have to replace a couple of them. But yeah, we've got loads of sealant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We've got 12 tubes there. I reckon we can get all 3 windows done with that, because when you're doing the bead on the back of the glass, you don't have to use anywhere near as much sealant. You just, because I mean, one tube's 300mm. That's why it's called MS300, because it's 300mm. So a 1cm bead should take you 3 meters. So because you get about 1 meter per 100mm. So that is a 5-foot window, so that 1.5, oh no, that's the 4-foot, isn't it? No, that's a 5-foot. So that's half a tube at the bottom, and then, so that should only really be a tube and a bit, something like that. And then that'll probably be 2 tubes, and that'll be a tube. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I reckon about 5 tubes I could do all these windows with, but every so often I just use a bit more because we've got 100mm here. We've got plenty of space, so we might as well use that, cover it with sealant. So all it's going to do is just make it that bit better. So I'm going to go and get the liner, which is, what's over there now? Yep, so that's the liner there. I'll roll it out long ways, so this is, front to back here is the longest way, so that's the way that you roll the liner out. We'll clamp it in the corners, get the bottom corners all pushed in. You just push them all in with your foot, And then once you've done that, you just walk around all the way around, pushing it in the bottom, and then you whack your foot in like this, lift the liner up, and then you get clamps. These clamps, clamp it on the side. We clamp it in each corner and either side of the window when we're doing it. Once you've got the sealant on the window, then it stops flapping off and falling off. So we find it really easy that way, because it just gets for one thing, if you're sandwiching the liner in between the sleepers and the glass, you're left with a big flap here, and then you've got to cut it away. I mean, once you've done it a few times, it's a bit easy, but the first few times you're like trimming away half this sleeper and making it look absolutely horrible. But you don't have to worry about that with this, because all we're doing is we're cutting the liner about here. There's no chance of anyone seeing it from the outside. We've got 100mm there, so we've got plenty of space for us to hide what we're doing. And then even from this side, with having 3 windows, you're going to be able to see this from outside when you're outside there. So as long as you get a nice straight cut down there and cut across, it'll look absolutely fine. So I'm going to shove this camera on top of the skimmer. I'm going to change to a different video, set it to really wide, and then hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. don't worry about getting it perfect at first. All you're bothered about doing is getting all the corners on first, because you're going to have to go around and do it all again anyway. So don't be too precious when you first open it up, because you can spend ages trying to get it perfect when it's just hard to get it perfect. So just focus on getting the bottom corners in, the top corners clamped. You're going to have to go around again anyway. So it looks alright now, but still a bit of work to do. Just see what you can actually see there. So just pick one point and just work round in clockwise or clockwise direction. That's all the camera will show you. So you see it's all a bit bunched up and creased up there. So all you do is walk round. These like barefoot minimalist shoes, so there's no chance of you damaging the liner out. I wouldn't wear my boots in here, because God knows what's on them. But yeah, you just go around. You can see that line all the way around here. You see this? So you want that to be in your bottom corner. So I've started in this corner, lifted it up to the top, clamped that on there, got that on the window, and now you can see you've got a nice flat bit all the way to the bottom. Then on the other side of the window you want exactly the same. Work it up to that corner, and then I'll get this clamped in now. Like half a centimetre difference, but it does make a difference to the end result, what the pond looks like. And then you'll see little folds and stuff, but as you go around and you carry on doing it, it'll get better and better. Okay, so now you can see that's what the liner looks like, obviously made to measure. So if you're making a square, oblong shaped pond, Without shelves is easy, it's cheaper, but they can be made with shelves as well. So if you want a quote for a box liner, you know, and you've got a shelf over here and a shelf over there, just the more awkward it is, the more expensive it is. That's the only thing. So we say it's best off not having shelves in that, because if you stick a shelf on that side and a shelf on that side, you're taking up about a quarter of the pond potentially, and then if you're thinking, oh, my fish need more space, you're best off just getting rid of the shelves and just having it all the way down, because we all want a bigger pond, don't we? And if you want to put plants or anything in, you can get floating baskets, you can get baskets that hang over the side that just kind of, that you can screw in, or yeah, the floating ones don't look amazing, I don't think. But yeah, you can make yourself a little basket that flips over the side if you really want plants. But if you want plants, I say don't have koi, because most of the koi ponds that we go to that have got plants in, unless there's like 5 koi and it's a 5,000 gallon pond, and they're just digging constantly, eating the plants, eating the lilies. I think I've still got a lily in one of my ponds that has never, well, it flowered in the first year and then it never saw a flower after, because every time a little shoot comes out, the koi are just nibbling at it. So yeah, next plan is to get, because the sun's on the windows outside, this one on the inside will have been warmer because it's, you know, it's inside, it's insulated. So I'm going to get this window done first. Once I've done that window, I'm going to do that little one, and then I'm going to do that one. What you need to bear in mind, just stick the little camera here. Right. So what you need to bear in mind when you're cutting these windows, maybe even further back, is you've got to think about, you basically think like water. The water's going to be pushing this bottom corner, and you're going to be cutting this window out and gluing it on here. So that means this part here is going to be fixed onto the wall. Then one of the mistakes that we see, people do this, and then people do that window, and then they try and push this corner in, but it's like this, it's really tight. You don't want that. You want to make sure, once you've done this window, you can reach all the way there, and you can still cut that side out as well. Because if you cut this too short, you might need to buy a new liner. So watch out for that if you're doing it yourself. Because obviously if you put that window and if this liner was shifted slightly this way, and this liner was like slightly that way, and you cut it, it wouldn't get all the way into this corner. The water would be constantly, you know, the liner would be like this instead of like this. So yeah, be careful when you're cutting them, especially with 3 windows like this, because it's not good. So yeah, I'm going to get this window done first. So I'm going to stick the camera on the other side. I'll show you how to do that. Make sure you get the liner nice and flat. Ideally you don't clamp it onto the glass, you clamp it next to it, because you're going to be sticking sealant on here. Don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So yeah, make sure that you put the clamp on there, not on here. If you've already bonded the glass in, yeah, if you've already bonded the glass in, it makes it a bit easier this, because this glass isn't going anywhere now. So make sure it goes flat all the way to the floor, and you can do it all the way to the other side like that. There's no creases there whatsoever. The water can get all the way to the bottom there, and it can get all the way into the corner on this side. Then before you cut it, just double check the other 2 sides. So I'm just going to make sure that, yeah, and I check that on every window. So standing there. So when you're cutting the window, and I've shown people this a million times before, but I'll just peel back the liner. So that, if you cut halfway between that that sleeper there, so you're cutting 5 centimetres in. So if I feel the edge of this glass and just cut a couple of inches in, I know that from the outside you're not going to be able to see the big horrible blobs of sealant coming out here, because you'll be able to, like where my finger is now, if you had sealant there, you'd be able to see it. So we want it to be hidden, so you can't see my finger now, and my finger's like right in the middle. So that's why we do 100mm recess, because it makes it easy to hide it, and it just makes things stronger as well, and it makes it easy to build. So see if we can get a better angle there actually. Yeah, I think that's a good angle. I need to find my standing knife. There's my headphone screwed on. What the fuck am I wrong with that? There we go. Idiot. Okay. So a nice fresh blade, it's brand new Stanley this. You get a better cut that way. Be careful with the knife around the glass, because you know, glass can shatter when it's in contact with metal. And also glass is very abrasive, so it will blunt your Stanley. It will blunt your knife. So just be wary of that. So I can eye it up from there, but now I'm feeling this crease here. So you just inch it down, inch it down. You're always keeping my left thumb a couple of inches below, because once I get to the bottom of the window, I don't want to just carry on cutting all the way to the floor, do I? So I'm going to be stopping. Where is it? About here. Stopping there. So now I'm down to this point. I just eye it up, make sure that I'm cutting it in the right place, so don't get complacent, and then you can start cutting horizontally as well. And once you've done your first cut, you just check that you've got enough space there. Chuck that back up there, because it'll just do your head in otherwise. And then use your left thumb or finger or whatever, keep an eye on where you are there, because otherwise you can end up just cutting up here or cutting down there. I'm actually holding this liner up now because this wants to fall down, so this is where you can start going off on a bit of a wobbly one. But as long as you cut too high, it's not a problem. If you cut too low, then it is a problem. So if anything, I cut a bit high, then I cut the excess away. You can have a little peek. Make sure you're still on the wood bit, which I am. Now, as you're getting over here, what we wary is where the glass finishes. So that finishes there. So that finishes there. So I'm going to start doing a line down here so I can join them up. There we go, still in the corner, and I'm on the upright, which is good. I'm going to start from the top. There. I'm not putting much pressure on it, just stretching the liner a bit and getting a bit so it's not cut all the way through completely. So that's what it looks like now. I'm going to shift this clamp over here. I'm just going to trim this because I started up right from the bottom. I just started about a centimetre too far to one side, so I'm just going to get that trimmed. There's a bit of moisture on there now, a bit of condensation in here. With it going from -10 to +12 over the past few days, there's been a lot of condensation in here. So I'm just going to go and grab a cloth. I'll wipe the inside of that. I'll check that the line is dry here, and check that this is dry as well. Use a milk temperature gun. See what temperature's saying. So there we go, 7 degrees, 2 degrees in where we can do it, so I'm happy with that. It's warmed up just over 1 degree since I've been here. I've only been here, times it now, yeah, I've been here about 45 minutes. It's due to peak at about 6 or 7 today, so that's going to be about all we're getting. But in the sun can make an absolutely massive difference with the temperature. Well, that's proving me wrong, isn't it? I had a piece of cardboard in the, well look, there you go, 17 degrees. Yeah, I had a piece of cardboard in my lockup, and it just had the sun on it for half an hour when it was -2 doing one of my last videos. Used this little gadget and it was showing that it was like 17, 18 degrees in the sun, but it was -2 everywhere else. So the sun really does make a difference. So if you're covered, you can uncover while the sun's touching stuff, and that'll help stuff go off quicker. So you can uncover it as long as it's not going to rain. Then you can uncover it. Right then. So what I'm going to do, just going to go and grab a cloth, and I'll start another little video, show you how I'm putting the sealant all around here. Dead easy though. Basically, put a bead there, all the way down, and then push this liner onto it.